This is a short presentation about citing the sources you use on the research paper that goes with your science fair project. You may think that citing your sources isn't important, but you would be very wrong. There are several reasons why we cite or give credit to others for our resources. The first reason is that it is a requirement and you could receive a 0 grade if you do not do it. The second is that it protects and gives credit to others' ideas. It is the ethical thing to do. Another important reason we cite our sources is that it makes our own work more credible, being supported by other professionals' works. And at last, citations provide a path for your readers if they'd like to follow up on your research and learn more. In addition to your project and research paper, you're required to have a bibliography page. It is placed at the end of your paper and isn't considered in the page requirement of at least 3 pages of research. The sources are placed in alphabetical order and are annotated. Annotated means that you need to write a little bit about your source and how you used it in your paper. You need to use quotation marks for direct quotations and use in-text citations. See your packet for additional examples and information on formatting your 5 or more sources. Here is an example of an in-text citation. You would use the first word from the citation listed in your bibliography. Usually this is the author's last name. Since this is from a book with pages, the page from where the resource is taken is also listed. For a web page, you would just use the first word, the author's last name usually, listed in your bibliography that goes with that source. Here is an example of how a book would be recorded in your annotated bibliography. The author is Rao Margaret, last name first and then her first name. The title is Olive Oatman, A True Story of the American West, followed by the city, the Greensboro, colon, the publisher, Morgan Reynolds Incorporated, comma, the copyright date, 1997, and it's a print resource. The annotation would read something like information, colon, from this source I learned about the ordeal of Olive Oatman when she and her sister were held captives as slaves by the Apaches. This is an example of how an article from an online database would be listed in your bibliography. Look at the red text for explanation on how this is done. Author, title of article, magazine title, date of the publication, page numbers of the article, database it came from, date you looked it up, and the URL address. Databases provided on the library website provide citations for you, so all you need to do is cut and paste those or export them to EasyBib. Websites are handled much in the same way. In this example, you see that the way you document the web page is to start with the page's author, followed by the title, Halloween Slime Sweepstakes, followed by the larger website title, Steve Spangler Science, the page's publication date, the web, because that's where you got it, and the date you accessed it. Follow with the URL. Sometimes the URL isn't necessary anymore, but I would check with the science fair officials or your teacher before omitting this step. If you have questions about citing your sources, please refer to your packet and ask your teachers. The packet recommends easybib.com and Citation Wizard to format your resources. The most important thing is to be consistent and use the same type citation. If you use EasyBib, for example, for one source, you should probably make sure and run all your sources through the same generator. Whatever you do, don't skip the step of citing your sources. As your packet states in all caps, be very careful. Do not commit plagiarism on the materials that others have written. It is illegal and will earn you a 0 for the assignment. If you use it, put it in your own words and give them credit or quote it. If you are not sure, cite it or ask. You can ask your teachers, the librarian, or other science fair officials what is required.